Hey guys, Apex God here, coming at you live with another how-to Clash of Clans. Today I'm going to be showing you two replays I played earlier against some fellow clan mates, showing you tips and tricks on how to get better at Clash of Clans. Clash Royale, my bad. The first thing you're going to want to note is your start. But your starting hand is really important. You got to read what you get. So for example here, we have me, or Apex God at the top, gonna start off with the elixir pump, and the reason I put it there is because it draws his troops towards the middle, so they actually don't go for the damage. But Dylan just made a mistake using the fireball. It's a bad trade-off because the elixir costs 5, but it actually produces elixir, so you're actually losing in that trade-off because it would make it more valuable, and it distracts the goblins. So here I'm making a rush towards them. If you think when you think about the game right now, you have to always be thinking about trade-offs. So what you spend to what he spends. So you basically got to think about what elixir you're using. So if he places down a minion horde, placing down arrows for say, would take them out. Or here, he has a dragon and 3 minions. Okay, this would cost, since it's minion horde and whatnot, I'd say about 4 elixir. And I just spent 3 on the arrows. So as you can see, I am ahead in the elixir game here, because he just bought him a hut. Knowing this, I'm predicting his deck. I'm not sure that he has the skeleton yet, though. I was unaware of this, and this actually caught me off guard, because I built a huge rush here, but his skeleton was able to take it off, again, making a good trade-off in his favor. So he's just going with the spam army on the right side. Why I picked the P.E.K.K.A deck, though? The question you gotta always remember when you're rushing is, when you're building your decks in this game, you gotta make sure you're building them with key components. You gotta make sure you got things that can deal with air, maybe have some things that fly, but if you got things that will deal with air, it's good. As you can see, he places the skeleton, but you gotta make sure you're always on top of every aspect. So if you gotta have some splash things, you try to get a spell or 2 in there. It's always good to have a spell. It doesn't have to be a damaging spell, but they're game changers in this game, and most successful decks will use it. So here I've gotten his tower down, knowing I only need about 2 hits with my hog. I placed the free spell thinking he would have placed something different. But again, it was a good trade-off because I did have a ton of elixir. Here the skeleton army, or the skeleton, does some serious work. But he comes out with the trade here and places that. But watch, as I play my arrows, I just nullified his minion horde with his 5, but he nullified my hog rider, which was 4. So again, it puts him ahead slightly, but he's placing a rush down for a final showdown here. See if he'll win the battle. And it looks like we pull away with the win here. It was a great game, really competitive. It really just came down to that one rush I had with the hog rider and the freeze. Again, using cards together. Another thing now you have to remember is, again, using cards together. It's another great thing. If you got to remember, the cards you have in your deck need to be able to work together and defend. So, for example, the Musketeer, her specific purpose is to sit behind our P.E.K.K.A, so she can dish out pain. Say he spawns in a high HP troop, like say the skeleton right here. She will actually knock him down very quick because the Musketeer really does dish out a lot of damage. As you'll see, I'll place her right behind my tower. One thing you do want to remember, though, is the fact that you are always making these trade-offs, and it always will have an impact, and you want to try to predict their deck. And depending on the deck you're using, like you see me not place my P.E.K.K.A yet, because he doesn't know I have a P.E.K.K.A, so it's an element of surprise. And if you just whip it out right away, it could be good if you have the right hand, but you got to make sure you have the right things to go with it, because running a P.E.K.K.A into their base is no good. Here I place the elixir pump because I need to set up a middle perimeter so they draw to the middle. That's another thing the pump's good for. He got the better of me on this rush though, spending as much elixir but being able to deal a lot of crown tower damage. Things are looking a little bit grim because he is breaking through my defenses, but this deck really shines out in the double elixir moments. Again, there's a very well done trade-off because he placed all that, and I was able to take it all out with the arrows except for him. But he outplayed me there because I am gasping for elixir, and I'm unable to play anything to stop this, and that puts my tower down to 600. At this point, I'm pretty wary, trying to make sure I can get a good rush going, because this rush will either make or break this game, because I need to get one. So I put down the Valkyrie, knowing she is really good because she takes out everything around her, not just beside her, but he then places the skeleton. But you can think, if you think, the cards he has to have are the mini P.E.K.K.A. and the minion horde, and I know he placed that minion horde, so it's going to cost a lot. So I was going to freeze over there, or I did, but I was going to freeze before, but he did have that brush going, so I needed the arrows. Again, that trade-off works in my favor, because as you can see, I'm much farther ahead in the elixir, and spending that Valkyrie was a mistake. But again, annoyingly, he does place down that skeleton, so we're going to have to make do. So I don't place many more troops, just try to get the skeleton down quickly, so I can assume a rush here. After that is taken care of, I'm thinking about a freeze spell, because now that I have a rush asserted and he doesn't have a skeleton, he doesn't have much he can do about it. So as the battle goes into overtime here, he does have that musketeer firing on his tower, and that actually gives me the win. Not yet, actually. Never mind. He makes a bold attack here, knowing I have very little health. He's going to try to zap my base, but I do have the arrows, which gives me the edge here. That was a good game played by our good friend, El Conroy. Thank you for watching. This has been Apex God.